Good girl story. I'm not exactly sure what number it is anymore, but it's about my front teeth and the cabbage. So when I was 17, I got hired in the produce department at a grocery store in my town. I was like working like because it was when the store was opening, so I worked like the setup of the department, and then also I also was working for the grand opening day. Before my shift started at 4, I had a dentist appointment and I had to get my front teeth filed down to get these my crowns put on my front teeth, and so I had these temporary caps put on for the week until these were done being made. My underneath them, my teeth were just like filed onto these like little pegs. And I went straight to work after my appointment, and as soon as I clocked in, I was like talking to my store manager and my regional department manager, and just suddenly I just felt my teeth drop and fall into my mouth, and I was like, put my hand in front of my mouth to like feel it, like feel like they're definitely like in my mouth, and I'm like, excuse me, I need to use the bathroom. And, like just like major lisp and major whistle going on, and they're like, what? Like, are you okay? Like, why are you talking like that? I just ran away. And so they're like confused, and like I ran to the bathroom. I'm like running them underneath hot water, trying to like loosen or soften the glue to stick them back on. And they weren't going. They were definitely not sticking back on. But my managers were like wondering like what happened, like why I suddenly like just like looked so terrified and asked what to use the bathroom like that, and why I was suddenly asking like, or why I suddenly had a major lisp and like whistle and everything. So I told them, I was like, my teeth fell out. Like what? Like I was like, my teeth fell out. They're like, did you see your teeth fell out? So I'm like in the bathroom. Like can't. Like, what do you mean? Like, can you come over here and show us? I'm like, it's like, oh no, it's like I was like had my hand in front of my mouth and I was holding my two teeth, my one tooth thing, and they're like, what is that? I was like, my teeth. They're like, that's not teeth. I was like, yes, it is my temporary teeth. They're like, what? And then so I put my hand down and show them my little stumps, and my store manager freaks out because he just looks just right terrified, and he runs into his office, grabs the first aid kit that has never been opened yet. It still has like the plastic sealing and everything on it. He just rips it apart, like just all this like first aid supply just goes flying everywhere. And he's like digging through it. And he's like, I don't know how to deal with this. And they're like, you know what? You can go home, like go like you take a day off, and like we'll just go get that sorted. Go see your dentist tomorrow in the morning and get that sorted out. And then you come back. I'm like, well, no, I can work. I'm fine. And so after a while, I was able to convince them to letting me stay. I just had to promise not to smile at any customers and like keep my face hidden. I tried to sign it was jarring. Like, and so I didn't have any more problems after that. But then 2 months later, one day I was trimming some cabbages and on the department floor, like right in the like, and then putting them right on display. It's like maybe 3 cabbages into this like one big ass box of like new cabbages, and so it's like my third cabbage, and I ended up like going too deep or too low with the knife and ended up catching my thumb and cutting off the entire bottom from this thumb, from right from the tip all the way to the first knuckle. It was like down. It was like seriously down to the bone, and like there's like no thumb pad at all left. It was just like a chunk of flesh, kind of slightly hanging on. It didn't hang on for too long though. I just went to shock and was just standing there like holding this cabbage, like just like watching myself just bleed all over it because I was bleeding a lot. And I kind of snapped out of it like when the cabbage was like completely covered in blood in it, but it's still in my panic state. I didn't pay attention to where I threw the cabbage, so instead of throwing it into the box of cabbage trimmings, and that was like for the rest of which would have made more sense, but the best choice, I accidentally threw it on top of the just opened big ass box of like cabbages that were needing to be put on So I completely contaminated and ruined the entire box. And like I just grabbed my thumb and was like running, like trying to find my managers. I was like running around the store, just back and forth, like frantically, like holding my thumb just without. And I guess I passed them about 5 times, and they're just like kind of like wondering like, what is she doing? So like they end up stopping me, like asking like why I'm running around, and like you look kind of scared. I was like, just kind of nodded, like did a spider crawl the box of cabbages, and like did somebody touch you with a shopping cart? I was like, because I'm scared of shopping carts. Like, but what happened? Then they noticed like my hand is like covered in blood, and it's like there's blood dripping out onto the floor. And they're like, oh my god, like you're bleeding. I was like, can I have a band-aid? And they're like, and I opened my hand, like, no, you cannot have a band-aid. And like my store manager is like, you're going to the hospital. He's like, you're not convincing us to like let you stay this time. I'm like, because you definitely need to get stitches or something. And I was like, I'm sure I'm fine. I just have to work. He's like, no, please, like, and he drove me up there to make sure I actually went and got it checked out, and also to find out from the doctor himself like how long I was going to take off work, because he knew I would be there again the next day to work my shift, and tried to tell him I was fine, which I would have done. And then the doctor, like when I handed him, like, because like the chunk of my flesh like that was still kind of hanging on, hadn't fallen off, like still when we were at the store, like when I asked for the band-aid, it was like fell off my, because it's only hanging on by like a millimeter of skin only. So like I handed him this like the chunk of my thumb, and it's all like at this point it's all white and limp and just like completely dead flesh. And I'm like, here, you can stitch this back on. And just like dropped into his hand. He's like, oh, he's like, no, I cannot. And he just threw it into the biohazard bin, just all disgusted. And yeah, I had to wear this big ass cast thing. I got my thumb for 2 weeks, and then I had to go get checked out after again for 2 weeks. Then I had to get another one for 2 weeks until like I had skin growing back on my thumb. We weren't really asked the doctors if my thumb was gonna grow back, or was it gonna be all like messed up and like all not have any thumbprints left on it after that. But apparently he said he wasn't sure. It could go either way, but it grew back fine. And there's actually like there's only like a tiny little like very very faint scar right here. Like you can't even see it unless you like really look for it. But like other than that, like it's not scarred. It grew back properly. Yeah, and I ended up losing my job for that, because my store, that is a store the produce manager, not the regional one or the provincial one, my store manager, but my department manager. She was an unpleasant woman, to say the least, but she made sure as soon as when I was able to go back to work that I was immediately fired because of the contaminated cabbages, as an excuse for why I was no longer employed there. My store manager tried to convince her to let me stay because I was a good worker, but no, she said that I did that on purpose and that she didn't like me. Yeah, she did not like me, and I didn't care for her. And I also didn't think twice about calling her out for when she was being inappropriate with other employees, or if she just wasn't doing her job or just being useless. And also, she just thought I was coming for her job because I got promoted like the first 2 weeks I worked there to a supervisor, a trainer, a weekend store opener, and the price changer. She's the only other position I could get promoted to was hers. So she thought I was coming for her job. Yeah. That's not the only time I've ever cut off a tip of my thumb either. My left thumb, I cut the tip off cutting onions when I was 23. Except that time the doctor was able to glue the tip of my thumb back on. That's only because he could have stitched it up, but he just didn't want to have to deal with me for that long, because me and him just don't get along, and because he sucks. He was a terrible doctor, and I'd always give him a hard time for it because he refused to deal with me anymore after he dislocated my shoulder when I was 17. I don't even know what that was about. But yeah. So yeah, that's how I freaked out. My boss was at a grocery store when I was 17. Some really unusual, I won't say my teeth were an injury, but it's definitely a weird incident. Yeah. My crowns are still on. They're still doing good. I haven't worked at a grocery store again since then, though.